Shalom, Israel. Shalom, shalom. If everybody can hear me, let me get a one in the chat if everybody can hear me. Make sure everybody can hear me, all right? All right, we are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started in 1969 out of 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under the commanding General Yohana. And since 1969, we have been teaching the truth of the Bible, that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are God's chosen people. You're not like everybody else. You don't have the same rules and ordinances as everybody else. The Most High holds you to a higher standard than he holds everybody else. He put his name on us. He put his stamp on us. And as a result, we're supposed to live up to that name. But we've been too busy trying to be good Americans. We've been too busy trying to be good participants, good citizens of this place. And it's dragged us down a rabbit hole and dragged us down this dark descent into immorality. We have become an immoral people, trying to follow behind this oppressor. Shalom Yahbashim Yahshua Barakatah. Awesome Atazah. Shalom Shema Shalom Shema Elatham Ba Hashem Yahweh Barakatah. To the sister, Ribba Mataza I see Trooper Kazaki checking in. Shalom Yahabashim Yahshua Barakatah. As you can see, tonight's class is going to be this is the Brotherhood class, but tonight we're going to have a continuation of our class we had last week. How do we get proud of Pride Month Part 2? It's so deep, it's so crazy how we change who we used to be. With all the stuff that we did get into that we didn't have any business getting into, even though we weren't following the Lord, we were closer to our values, our morals that the Most High gave us coming out of slavery than we are now. We are so far away from it now. Even when I was growing up, to be part of that LGBT community wasn't accepted. It wasn't accepted among us. It was something that you couldn't just put on your shirt and be proud of and run around like Superman, and let everybody know, and everybody will pat you on your back and celebrate you for it. But in this era that we're in, it's the exact opposite. In this era that we're in, everybody, you are rewarded for it. You are a hero for it. You are above the law in a sense. You're above the law by claiming that lifestyle. But again, with tonight being tonight's Brotherhood class, we always like to start off a certain way. Brotherhood is synonymous with what? What's the same or what's equal to brotherhood? Can anybody let me know? Type in, let me know in the chat what's synonymous with brotherhood. But yeah, I've seen some amazing things. But this era that we're in now is kind of hard to fathom, and give our Trooper Kazaki a hand. Trooper Kazaki says sisterhood, and that's absolutely correct. Because of a lack of brotherhood and a lack of sisterhood, we don't hold each other accountable for anything anymore. Also Mataza Karal as well. I'm sorry, I said Kazakia, Trooper Kazakia, but I hit on Officer Mataza. Both of you are both correct. Sisterhood is synonymous with brotherhood. And if sisterhood and brotherhood are both synonymous with each other, what's the same thing as brotherhood and sisterhood? And if you what's brotherhood and what's sisterhood? Who can tell me that? What's synonymous with both of those? If sisterhood and brotherhood are the same, what is brotherhood and sisterhood? Give you a couple of seconds to get it. And it's amazing when you look at the numbers on the stats on us. We're number one in everything. We're number one, and everything is bad. Everything is bad. We're number one, and even though we're a very small considered one of the smallest populations of this country. Um, and Officer Matazai and Trooper Kazaki are both on to give both of them a hand. They both say love, love. Brotherhood and sisterhood are synonymous with each other, and brotherhood and sisterhood is love. But the problem is we define love out of our own minds, out of our own hearts. We figure out what love is. We tell our children what love is. We accept what the oppressor tells us is love, and we run with it. We take his definition and we run with it. And as a result of us running with the oppressor's definition of love, these are the heathens, these are the nation's definition of love, we enter into Pride Month. So what is love? Because the Most High gave us a definition of love. What is love? And if you can give me that precept for it. What is love? How do you combat that? How do you know what love is? The benefit of being in this school, the benefit of being a member of this Israelite school of universal practical knowledge is you learn how to apply these lessons, apply this law, in your life. So you know what love is. You're not just guessing at what it is. You're not just accepting or taking what this oppressor or what anybody else just tells you love is. You actually have a definition of it. So what is love? Who can tell me what love is? And if you can, give me that precept for it. Who can tell me what is love? And Officer Matazai is on it. He says, following the law. 1 John 5:3. Also give Trooper Kazaki a hand. 1 John 5:3. For this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments, and his commandments are not grievous. I'm going to pull it up so everybody else can see it. So again, it says, for this is the love of God. We like to define love for what in our own terms, but love for me can be something totally different to you. What I determine or what I see as love, or what I'm considered as love, what I teach my children as love, it may be the total opposite of what you teach your child as love. You watching them old mobster movies with the Italians who we try to pretend to be like. What they teach, they have a whole different code of ethics, a whole different morality, a code of morals. So what they teach their children as love is going to be totally different from what somebody else is going to teach their child as love, or what they or what expect as love from their spouse or their significant other. Well, the Most High tells us exactly what love is. He says, for this is the love of God. And Shalom Yahbashem Yahshadah, Rakatah to Trooper Call. Shalom Yahweh Shemalathon by Hashem Yahushua to the sister Na in the building. How y'all doing? Appreciate y'all attending tonight. So again, the Most High is letting us know that for this is the love of God, that we keep his commandments. That law is perfect. That law allows us to love one another and be loved, and know what to expect and know what to give. Without the love of the Most High, without his commandments, we don't know how to do that. Without the Most High's commandments, his laws, his statutes, his commandments, we make up our own definitions, our own idea of love. We are people who have never experienced justice. Let that sink in for a second. 400, 500 some years, that's just in this captivity. We have never experienced justice. We don't know what justice is. Our people are unalived and taken away from us. We are wronged at every turn, at every corner. We're wrong. Our young men, our young women are killed at traffic stops. Philando Castile told a police officer he had a registered firearm. Didn't stop that cop from unaliving him right there in the seat. Wouldn't even let his wife reach over to hug him or hold him or move, even though he was taking his last breath as his daughter screamed and hollered from the back seat. We don't know what justice is. We think justice is, okay, they got caught, the police did it, now I get a fat check at the end of the day. That's not justice. That's not what the Most High considers as justice. We think that if they come back and they say that they sorry, which this oppressor never does, this oppressor never tells us he's sorry for the crimes that he's committed. But we feel like if we can just get an apology, if we can just get some kind of consolation, if we can maybe possibly even get a check, if we can get a check out of it, well, they love me all of a sudden, and everything is okay. But that's not what the Most High determined as what love is, and that shouldn't be what we should be expecting from one another. As a result of following these people, we have lowered our expectations of one another. We don't correct one another when we're wrong. We don't expect anything from each other. We expect the bare minimum. In most cases, we expect even less than that. Shalom, Shamar, Alathan, by Shem Yahushua, to the sister Carletta G in the building. How you doing tonight? So again, we don't know what love is. We just know what these people tell us is love, and we, as a people who've never experienced justice, we take their form of justice and we try to apply it to ourselves, and it doesn't apply. We have done everything for this place. We built the inventions. We fought in their military. We built their countries. We built all their empires up. We begged and begged and begged for a crumb to fall off the table. But if you look at this oppressor, the spirit of this oppressor ain't looking for no crumbs. This oppressor, when this oppressor plays, he plays for win, he plays for keeps, he plays to be number one at each and every turn. We fight just to be equal to him. We want to be equal to him. We want to be equal to the rapist, equal to the robber, equal to the murderer. That's not justice. We feel like when we're wrong, we'll go grab a Sharpie, grab a poster board, we'll write a couple signs out, no justice, no peace, we'll stomp our feet real loud in the street. And this is justice. And we feel all good about ourselves. And we don't get anything from it. We don't realize that this isn't love. That's not justice. That's not justice. That's just you crying out and not being heard all over again. And you've been doing that for centuries. So instead of doing that for centuries, once you learn what the Most High wants you to do, once you learn what the Most High tells us what love is. So again, for 1 John 5:3, for this is the love. This is the love of God, that we keep His commandments, and His commandments are not grievous. It's hard to see your child, your loved one, get taken out of here at a young age, and you got to mourn him for the rest of your life. You writing signs and you petitioning to the government and to the public to try to get some form of justice, try to get somebody held accountable for it, and that never ever happens. It's a lot easier to love your brother and your sister. Don't sell drugs in your neighborhood. Don't kill one another. Protect one another. Do what the Most High says do. That's an easier thing to do. That's an easier thing to do. If you lay down with that sister, you keep that sister forever. That's an easier way to maintain that family, as opposed to trying to maintain it the way that suppressor tells us to do it. If we were to just follow the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments, we could actually see our way out of this hole. But we can't see our way out of it because, again, we try to look to this nation. We try to look to the slave master. We try to look to everybody else except for who we need to, as far as getting freedom, when the Most High gives us a prescription, gives us a path, gives us a way to freedom. And until we start going back and following His laws, statutes, and commandments, it's going to keep just being the same thing over and over again. Pride Month, and again, that's the title of the class. How do we get proud of Pride Month Part 2? We're gonna go back into it again and just kind of look at how we got here. How do we get here? Pride Month is a result of us trying to define love on our own, and then a result of us taking what this oppressor has called love and accepting it. We accept anything because we don't have any kind of standards. Them laws, statutes, and our commandments, those are our standards. When it comes to being a good brother, when it comes to being a good sister, you can't be a good brother and a good sister if you don't love that brother, if you don't love that sister. Well, you don't know that according to the Bible, to the Most High, you're not going to love them properly or know how to love them or love them the way that we're supposed to be loved if you're not loving them with the love of God. And you can't do that if you're not following the law, statutes, and commandments. Again, and we refuse to keep those laws, statutes, and commandments. And that's something that was special, specifically given to us. We want to take on America's idea of morality. We want to take on America's idea of right and wrong, a blanket law that was given. And to be honest with you, when they first wrote a lot of those laws, that Constitution and so forth, that didn't have nothing to do with us to begin with anyway. It never had anything to do with us. They had to pretty much try to write morality into that law just because of how immoral they treated us. They would treat their animals. There was laws on their own books that they would treat their horses and their cattle and their pig and their livestock better than they would treat us. They saw us as an animal. But we'll run to that law. We'll run to them as opposed to running to our Constitution, our laws, our statutes, our commandments, when those was wrote specifically and exclusively for us. And we're gonna pull that up. Let's look at Psalms 147 and 19. Again, this law that we have, this law was given to us. And if you are in class, whenever you're in class, I recommend that you always have you a Bible with you, a sword with you. King James Version 1611. That's gonna be the closest thing to the original text as far as the translations. King James was a black man. He was a black man like us, and in those times that those books and things like that were wrote and preserved for like the royalty for pretty much the people that had money. He had it transcribed, I think 42, I want to say 42 scholars that knew the Hebrew, knew the Greek, and they took and they translated it into the King's English, which is what that was called at the time. So that's how you get it in the English form. So you want to get you a 1611 King James Version. Think about that 1611, that King James Version is going to have the Apocrypha, which are the hidden books inside of it. They took those books out because those books, those 14 books, contain the history. It's the connecting point. It's the mediator in between what they call the Old and the New Testament. It's one volume. It's one book. They call it the Old and the New Testament so they can lie to you and tell you that Christ came and he came with a brand new message, which isn't true. So whenever you are hearing that word out, the Bible says if a man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. So if you're speaking, if you're saying anything about the Most High, it should be coming straight out that book. Part of our problem is we allow other people to hijack our book, our family history, our family heirloom. They hijack it. You go to that church, that pastor tells you one or two lines out of it, never tells you what it means, never tells you what it's saying. Then for the next 2-3 hours, he's going to go off about this and go off about that. He's going to tell you that it's 50-50. He's going to tell you it's going to be flowers in churches. They're going to dance and roll all over the floor. It's going to be big hats and food, and it's going to be festive. And you're going to walk out there feeling good because you just got another feel-good message. Well, the thing about that Bible, our history, our records, our history, it wasn't always a feel-good time. And it tells you the truth about that when you're reading that word. It's called letter G says, sisterhood, love. Love is someone that you truly care about, respect you, and never hurt you. God said, if you love me, keep my commandments. That's absolutely correct. We don't know how to love one another because we don't follow his commandments. We try to do it our own way. And by trying to do it our own way, we allow other selfish means to kind of control and dictate that. And the thing about love is selfless. You loving for the people. You loving for yours. It's not just about you anymore. If you love anybody, it's not just about you. Think about this place, this oppressor. This oppressor teaches you love from a once. It teaches you love as far as serving, self-service. It's a self-serving love. Your birthdays is a sin. That's like the most celebrated. That's the most important day in the Satanic Bible is your birthday because that's self-worship. That wasn't part of our culture. The other holidays are worships of other idols and fertility rituals. None of those were part of our custom. Our customs, our laws, our statutes was meant to build a nation, to take care of a nation, to take care of each other. You can't take care of each other, take care of your neighborhood if you self-serving. If you self-serving, you set up the trap, you're going to sell as much as you can, make as much money as you can kill us about anybody else around there. If you have any kind of a different motive or take on that, you're not going to be successful as a drug dealer. You can't be successful as a prostitute or a whore if you're worried about the common good of the rest of the neighborhood. If you're worried about how you're going to be seen, if you're worried about the influence you have and what and other people following you, you're not going to be successful in that arena. Why? Because true love, true brotherhood, true sisterhood is about your brother, about taking care of your brother and taking care of your sister. We're gonna get description because the Bible tells us all this. Again, that those laws, those statutes, those commandments that we were given exclusively to us. It wasn't for everybody. And we got a bad habit of because we're people that don't know justice. We don't know freedom. Freedom was quote unquote given to us because we don't know justice. We don't know freedom. We don't know nationality. Anything that's given to us is ours. We give it away. So you think about that. If you're an artist and you have a child, you got a child, and you scrape, you struggle, you buy your child an item, or you get something for them, or you pass something down to them, and it's just for them. And you say, this is for you, and I worked hard for it. I want you to get this to your children when they come up and they get older, and they take whatever it is you give them. It could be a car, it could be a house, it could be land, or whatever it is. It could be a necklace or jewelry or whatever it was, but you worked hard for it, and you wanted your child to have it, and you wanted that to stay in the family, and you wanted your child to pass it down to their children, and so forth and so forth. And your child took that and say, well, they come home one day and they don't have it, and you go, okay, where's the item that I gave you? Oh, I gave it to my friend. Yeah, I gave it to my friend. My friend said they said they love me and I love them too, so I gave it to my friend. Is that love? Would that be considered love? What y'all think? Yes or no? Y'all think that would be considered love if they took that cherished item that you worked and gave to them, that you specified that was just for them, and they took that and they gave that away to their friend because their friend said that they loved them? Their significant other told them that they loved them, so they took it and they gave it away to them. How would you feel about that? Maybe that's the better question. How would you feel about that? River Officer Matazai says, nah, that's not love. That would be unacceptable. Matazai Kara said, that would be unacceptable. We might have to go to their friend house and get that back. We might sit down and talk about that. But that's in essence exactly what we've done with our word, with what the Lord specified and gave specifically to us. When you go to Psalms 147 and 19, it reads, he showeth his word unto Jacob. When it's talking about that word, it's talking about these laws, these laws, statutes, and commandments. My rib also says that's selfish, and that's correct. That's a selfish thing. That's self-serving. That has nothing to do with the family, with the overall goal. That has nothing to do with the community. That would be a selfish thing to do. But it says he showeth his word unto Jacob. Again, that word is the laws, the scriptures, the laws, the statutes, the commandments, our history, the records of what happened to us, the records of how we overcame, the records of how we messed up and how the Lord brought us out, the records of the lineage, how we knew who was king and how it was passed down, how Christ is our king now. We knew that his father was Joseph and his mother was Mary, and he came out here as a result of a sexual union between Joseph and Mary, not some fairy tale that somebody told us that he was just magical and he's a ghost baby. By us keeping our records, keeping what the Most High gave us, we would know these things. We wouldn't be able to be fooled. Sister Carletta says, nope, I wouldn't like that. That's not love. Exactly. It wouldn't matter what that child told. It wouldn't matter what that child said or how they expressed it as, well, they love me and they told me this. They promised them the moon and the stars above, but it wouldn't matter. And it wouldn't change the fact that this wasn't love, because when you initially gave it, that was love. Them keeping it, them listening to what you told them as far as passing it down to their children afterwards, that would have been love. Just like the Most High says, to love him is to keep his commandments. Can't love one another. We can't do what the Most High tells us to do, requires us to do. Love is not a self-serving thing. Again, love is selfless. So it's again, he says he showeth his word unto Jacob. When it says Jacob, you had Jacob, you had Esau. Jacob was a seed of Isaac, and Jacob wrestled with the angel, and he wrestled with that angel and said, "I'm not letting you go till I get a blessing." The Lord hit him on the hip, and he blessed him, and he's changed his name to Israel. And this is our forefather. This is our, I'm sorry, this is this is our forefather. This is where we come from. So Israel, again, Jacob had 12 sons. Those 12 sons make up the house of Israel, the children of Israel. If you're from the West Indies, you're from Benjamin, his son Benjamin. If you're Puerto Rican, you're from his son Reuben. If you're Mexican, you come from his son Issachar. So if you're Negro, what you quote unquote Negro, or quote unquote black, or so-called black, I like to say, because again, all these terms, these titles, these were titles that were given to us by the oppressor. These languages that we speak, Spanish, English, these are slave languages given to us by the oppressor. The religions that we worship, that we follow, these are religions given to us by the oppressor. This Christianity that came from that transatlantic slave trade, Islam, the sub-Saharan slave trade, and so forth and so forth. Not what the Most High gave us, but what the oppressor gave us. So think about that. All the things that we hold on to so dearly, that we don't want to let go of, all these are things that the oppressor gave us, the slave master gave us. But what the Most High gave us, we don't want to hold on to that. The Most High didn't give us Pride Month. The Most High told us the exact opposite when it came to Pride Month. We read last week in Leviticus 18:22 that if a man lay down with another man, that's an abomination to the Most High. That's abomination to the Most High. That's not what he gave us. He gave us his laws, his statutes, and his commandments. It says he showeth his word unto Jacob, his statutes and his judgments unto Israel. This was something specific. This is something exclusive. Verse 20. Oh, all right, I messed up. I'm gonna go back. Go back one. But that's something exclusive. That wasn't for everybody. I know I was right. Verse 20. He have not dealt so with any nation. So there's a lot that they tell you that God loves everybody. There's a lot that they tell you that God is for everybody. He's the God of everybody, the God of the whole world. The slave and the slave master are going to be holding hands together in heaven, floating in the sky with little naked white babies. That's not what the Most High gave us. And that's not his word. That's a filthy lie that's been told over and over again, that's been built up over and over again. Because of that lie, what's been born out of that lie is Pride Month. Pride Month is a result of that lie. In the mind of one that in that LGBT T123 community, they feel like I can do whatever I want. The Lord still love me. I can break all his laws. The Lord still love me. Sometimes I says that we rather give up the love of the Most High for the love of our oppressor. And that's absolutely correct. We give up everything that's ours. So just like that child that would take that heirloom, whatever was cherished that parent passed down to him, as opposed to having that parent's love, that what that parent gave to him. Nope, I'm gonna give that away for the love of this quote unquote friend, because this friend said that they love me. The friend didn't scrape, struggles, none of that to give it to him to begin with, but I'm gonna give it away for this friend that said that they love me. Well, that's what we do. We celebrate Pride Month. When we celebrate Pride Month, we tell the Most High we hate him. And we love the slave master that we under that told us that they love me. This is my way in. This is the way for this oppressor to finally love me after all of these centuries. And we're going to be friends now. So we believe that, and we don't believe what the Most High said. That word, that's those laws, those statutes, those commandments were given just to us. It says he have not dealt so with any nation. Not Moab, which is Chinese, not Ishmael, which is your Arab, not Elam, which is your East Indians, not Africans. Most High didn't deal with Africans. He didn't deal with no Africans. You're not African. If your people came over here on them slave ships, If you Black, Hispanic, or Native Indian, you're not no African. You're not no African. You're not no American. Those are, again, all just titles that the slave master has given us, given us over the years, over the centuries, and we've accepted them and adopted them as our own. But the Most High never dealt with none of them. The Most High only dealt with us. And it says, as far as his judgments, who knows what judgments is? Who can tell me what a judgment is? Because a lot of times we get that, again, we don't have, because of the American school system and because of Christianity, we have very, very little reading comprehension skills. We'll read something and we're gonna go with what we feel like, as opposed to what that actual definition is, as opposed to what it actually is. Who can tell me what a judgment is? Because that's something that we always mix up a lot of times. You can be talking to somebody, let's say that they smoke cigarettes, and you say, sister, brother, sister, you shouldn't smoke no cigarettes. My rep says make considered decisions. Not necessarily, not necessarily. But we're gonna pull it up though. We'll be talking to somebody and they'll say, well, let's say that's a good example. That they smoke cigarettes. And you'll say, you shouldn't smoke them cigarettes. And they'll come back, you can't judge me. Is that judging? Yes or no? La Khan. Is that judging? If you tell them you shouldn't be smoking those cigarettes, sister, brother, and they come back and they say, you can't judge me. Did you judge them just then? Is that really judging? Who knows? La Khan. Is that considered a judgment? Sister Na says make a decision. That's the same thing my rib said, and I see where y'all going with it. But in that example that I just gave, if again one of your friends or whatever, they're smoking cigarettes, and you say nope, you shouldn't be smoking cigarettes, and then they say you can't judge me. Did you really judge them just then? I think that's a better way of asking it. All right, my rib says la that's not a judgment. Officer Mataz Akra says la that's not judgment. Anybody else? Were you judging them just then? Rebbe Matazah Akra says correct. It says that's giving guidance. That's correct. So in that same example, though, 6 months or whatever, some time goes by and they die of lung cancer. Or they like the little lady you see in the commercial with the hole in the throat. And they're trying to talk. You can't understand them because they got a little box to their neck. They got cancer now. Have they been judged now? Is that judgment? Who thinks that's judgment? Because if me telling them, or you telling them that nope, sister, brother, sister, that nah, you shouldn't be smoking, and they tell you that you can't judge me, and they continue to keep smoking, whatever that behavior is, whatever that breaking, that transgression, that sin, whatever that is, that law that they break, that they're going against, and they tell you that you can't judge me, only God can judge me. Ain't that what they say? Only God can judge me. Officer Matazah Akra says, Khan, that's judgment from the Lord. And that's what we got to have to understand, and what we have to get. That's a judgment. If you unfortunate enough to be in front of that judge and they go 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, that's a judgment. When in that example, that brother, that sister, they got lung cancer now. They done died from lung cancer now. That's a judgment. For you to correct somebody, though, that's not a judgment. You said when you say told you so, that's a judgment. Even when you say told you so, that's just kind of telling them what was going to happen. I mean, that's not even really a judgment either. In most cases, we don't even have that power to judge. We can correct one another. And we get when it's used like that as far as us judging, because it says that we were going to judge the nations. But these other nations, they haven't known the Most High's judgment. They've been able to rape, rob, kill, murder, beat, steal, take everything from us, keep us at the bottom, have crafty counsel and pass laws to make sure that we don't raise back up. Even when we try to build up our own community, they drop bombs from the sky. They haven't been paid back for that yet. They haven't been judged for that yet. But they will be. When we get out there on that street and when we're teaching, that's what we letting them know. That's what the prophets have always done. They've always come out and told you that, hey, Lord's judgment is on its way. A lot of times those prophets was out there telling the children of Israel, hey, the Lord's judgment is on its way. You keep it's like when you have a child. You have a child and that child keep messing up and keep messing up. You keep telling them, hey, you need to get your act together. You need to get your act together. Eventually, you're not going to tell them to get their act together no more. They're going to have to suffer the consequences. So when you're talking about judgment, you're talking about actual consequences. But again, we are people that's devoid of justice. We're devoid of freedom. We're devoid of the knowledge of our book. So because we're devoid of the knowledge of that book, we've taken terms like that. Well, you can't judge me. Only God can judge me. We'll say that so we don't have to correct each other. See, the oppressor gave us things like that so that we wouldn't know how to love one another. If I can't tell you, hey, brother, God said don't do that, then I really can't love you, because according to the law, the statutes and commandments, that's what I'm supposed to love you like I love myself. If I'm not gonna unalive myself by doing these actions, I shouldn't allow you to unalive yourself by doing them as well. I should make you aware of that as well. So again, the terms like that have been used to keep us from loving each other the correct way. But it says he have not dealt so with any nation, and it's very important. Any nation, it don't matter how good they is, it don't matter what lies they tell, it don't matter if they your new best friends. None of that matters. The Most High said he hasn't dealt with any of them. He's only dealt with you. He's only dealt with you. He hasn't dealt with anybody else. Ms. Carletta says, you didn't show. Oh, there it goes. Judgment is someone calling you out righteously about the right and the wrong you've done, or admitting the right and the wrongs you've done. That's again, it's just like I was telling the other sisters. That's a good part or portion of it, but that actual judgment, you can call them out all day long, and you should call them out if it's right or if it's wrong. And we get our idea, our sense of right and wrong from these laws, these statutes, and this commandment. But that power of judgment, that's left up to the Most High. That's going to be left up to the Most High. And unfortunately, in this world, Job 9:24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. They have the power to judge and take your life away, to unalive you and so forth. In most cases, we have the power to correct, to rebuke one another. That's rebuke. We can rebuke one another, tell a person what's right and what's wrong. That's rebuke. We can do that all day long with that power of judgment. It's judgment is a little bit different. Judgment is the final say so. Judgment is the punishment. It's going to be the punishment for you breaking the law. We don't like to be told that we even breaking the law. You tell us we breaking the law now, they say you judging me. You ain't put nobody behind no bars. You ain't gave nobody no sentence. You ain't gave nobody no fine. But they say you judging me all because they want to stop you, or somebody wants to stop you from actually showing love. They want to stop you from being able to tell them right and wrong. And even if you think about that for a minute, if I'm your friend, if I'm your brother, if I'm your sister, you getting ready to walk into a hole, fall, unalive yourself, hurt yourself real bad, shouldn't I tell you, hey, brother, hey, sister, you getting ready to fall? And if I tell you, hey, brother, hey, sister, you getting ready to fall, and you get mad at me? Come on now. This is what they've done to us. This is what they've reduced us down to. We can't even love one another the correct way because we try to follow a people that have no kind of morality. We're trying to follow people that watch us suffer as a result of what they have done, as a result of their judgments, as a result of what they have done. Watch us suffer, watch us being slavery, watch them steal everything from us, and then we'll look at you right in your face and say, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. So those type of people, those nations that the Lord hasn't judged, they don't know judgment yet. They don't know it yet, but they will. It says, as far as he has not dealt so with any nation, and as far as his judgment, they have not known them. Praise ye the Most High. And that's absolutely correct. They don't know the judgments of the Most High, but it's coming. And it's coming in the form of nuclear thermal warfare, World War III. Their judgment is on the way. And when you look more and more, it's coming. Part of the reason why we don't know the laws, the statutes, and command, part of the reason why we are inside of a Pride Month is because we don't know we don't know that we shouldn't be celebrating no Pride Month. We don't know or realize that we shouldn't be part of that community, even though the Most High tells us that. Um, Last week we looked at Leviticus 18 and 22. I want to put where it says man and man. I'm gonna put so you can see that as well, so we can just have a little refresher on it. So if we go to Leviticus 18 and chapter 22, if we knew what the Most High said about our law, statutes, and commandments, if we knew the word that He showed only to Jacob, we wouldn't find ourselves being proud of Pride Month. We would find ourselves in a position of rebuking a lot of brothers and sisters probably, but we wouldn't be celebrating and being proud of no Pride Month. Leviticus 18, chapter 18, verse 22 says, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is abomination." What is an abomination? Who can tell me what an abomination is? Just so we can kind of refresh over it. Well, what's an abomination? Who knows? Who knows what's an abomination? Who can tell me what an abomination is? And while you putting that up, verse 23 says, well, okay, hold on. Miss Carletta says, sin. True. Abomination is something that the Most High, but it's something specific. When He says that it's an abomination, um, this is something that the Most High hates. This is something that the Most High hates. Because of that church, because of Christianity, Christianity has taught us that God is all love. God is all love, and God is all love for everybody. Give off some Mataz hand. It's something regarded with disgust or hatred. The Most High hates that when a man lay down with another man like woman. He hates it when a woman lays down with a woman like she's laying down with a man. He hates it, but this world that we're in, this society that we in, applauds it. They applaud it and give you a whole month to celebrate it. Shalom Yabashim Yashabakta. Officer Yarash Amon from the building. They applaud it. They applaud it. But again, the Most High, the word, the laws, the statutes, commandments that He gave to us, He does not applaud it. It's an abomination. It's something that's regarded with disgust and with hatred. This church has God loves the sin. I apologize. He hates the sin and loves the sinner, and that's absolutely not correct. It's not correct, and it doesn't say that in the Bible. And we're going to actually get exactly what it does say in the Bible, because once we know what the Most High truly says, now we can understand the judgments that fall on us. See, we are being judged when we break His laws, His statutes, and commandments. When it says that He hasn't done so with any other nation, the other nations, they can eat pork. They can eat shrimp, they can eat lobster, they can eat crab, they can eat bloody meat, they can sleep with, they can be homosexual, they can be part of that community, they can lie, they can steal, they can kill, they can do all the things that they've done to build this place. They can do those things. They can do those things, and they can do those things because, again, they're not under the law. What the sister Carletta brought up when she said sin is transgression of the law. The law was given to us. So when we break the law, we're going to be judged for breaking that law. We're going to pay for breaking that law. You look at our communities, that's judgment from the Most High for us breaking those laws. When you look at our schools, when you look at our relationships with our family members, that's judgment from the Most High breaking those laws. So Carletta says that makes him furious. He hates it, and it's a disgrace to him. That's absolutely correct. And this is why we're in the situation that we're in now, because as a result of us breaking those laws. But the Most High told us exactly what laws to follow, what laws not to follow, and what would happen if we didn't follow those laws. But we refused to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments that were exclusively given to us, and as a result, we suffer for it. For example, we're going to pull up. I'm going to show you some of the judgments of the Most High. since it's Pride Month, I did a little research and did a little study on it. I'm trying to just kind of trying to see again how we got where we got to. I'm a little bit older, so I remember when back in the day, um, and it's something very specific that before COVID, prior to it was a disease that kind of came and swept through. So bigger than your crack epidemic, bigger than all of that, really. Whenever you turned their television on, they were talking about it. Whenever you looked around, they were talking about it. And it was a specific judgment as a result of practicing that lifestyle. That lifestyle wasn't as glorified. That's a better way to put it. That lifestyle, being part of that LGBT community, wasn't as glorified as it was today, and it was a very specific reason why it wasn't. Who can tell me? And they write off some Mataza Akaraz on it. AIDS. My rib is on it. AIDS. Because of AIDS. AIDS was everywhere you look. If you turn the television on, that's all they were talking about. If you looked at the commercials, that's all they were talking about. Everything was about AIDS, and it was a deterrent. Even if you thought about going down that road, being part of that lifestyle, it was a deterrent as far as you getting into it because it was everywhere. But nowadays, it's glorified, it's looked at as it's not a big deal. And so I wanted to kind of show or read a little bit of kind of exactly where exactly kind of where is it as opposed to what they tell us it is. As Carletta said, AIDS as well. Correct. So I'm gonna pull this up for you right now. If you look at what I pulled up right here, right at the very top of this screen, on the one that I'm sharing, it says that Atlanta has one of the highest HIV infection rates in the world. There, when you were reading stuff like that, we're number one in high blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, COVID. Right here is showing one of the highest HIV infection rates in the world. When we're only 10 to 12% of this country. So for us to be mathematically number one for anything, that's not no accident. That's not an accident. That's an anomaly, and it's an anomaly. Reason being is biblical. This is the Most High. This is a judgment from the Most High. This is a judgment from the Most High. This is a punishment for us doing specifically what He told us not to do. Because we refuse to follow His laws, statutes, and commandments, we find ourselves in Atlanta with one of the highest HIV infection rates in the world. But when you turn on the television, you're not going to see none of that. When you turn this television on, it's going to tell you any and everything else except for what's really going on. And this is like just the beginning at it. Even though it's one of the highest in the world, it's still like number 4 on the list in the country. DC, I believe, is number 1. Maryland is like number 3. It's all in the areas where we're located at. We make up a very small percentage of that community, but we carry the bulk of the diseases, of the STDs, of the judgments. This is what it's saying when it says that He has not dealt so with any other nation. They haven't known His judgments. We are being judged for the things that we do. We're being judged for these things. And yet and still, we are in the middle of Pride Month. If this isn't a clear example of the immorality of this place, of how lost, how far gone we are as a people, I really don't know what is. Even if they were celebrating this, even if that was their culture, their customs, which it always has been, why are we involved in it? That's my question. Why are we involved in it? All right. And then I also wanted to show they even have a new term Miss Carletta said that men's sperm don't supposed to be in a man. Man to men DNA don't mix, and that's absolutely correct. It doesn't mix for us because the Most High said that was an abomination. It wasn't supposed to be like that. This place has even changed the title of what they call homosexuality. Now they got a brand new term for it. When I was reading it, I had to kind of read it again and figure out exactly what I was reading. But they call it MSM. Who's heard of that before? MSM. Has anybody heard of MSM before? This was my first time seeing that before. But it's amazing how they'll change the titles, they'll change the terms, they'll change the phrases, all to make you more comfortable with this, what the Most High calls an abomination. Who knows what an MSM is? And I'm gonna pull it up so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. I just want to make sure I got the right thing before I share it. So again, what they term or what they call it, it's gonna be different what the Lord says. They say love, God loves everybody. The Lord says no, He only loves us. They say that this book is for the whole world, for everybody. The Bible we just got through reading in Psalms 147-19 that He showed His word to Jacob. He had His laws, His statutes. He has not dealt so with anybody else. Officer Montaza, I said they haven't heard of that one before. I'm gonna show it to you, brother. I'm gonna show it to you. Miss Carletta said she's never heard of before. We gonna hopefully hopefully you can see that on the screen. So again, they have a new term. This new term is MSM, men who have sex with men. So instead of all the terms that we grew up with, homosexual, gay, or so forth, there's so many things that you can't not say nowadays because you don't want to hurt their feelings. But this is the new term that they have for it. It's called MSM. And all this is just to soften or beautify what's ugly. It's to glorify what the Most High calls an abomination. But when we read right here, it says MSM, or men who have sex with men, have been the most impacted by the epidemic since the beginning. And again, one thing I learned very young is you got to always be able to learn how to read in between the lines. So when you're reading something like this, they're telling you so much that we are the ones being judged, but they're saying it in a way where if you're not really paying attention, you won't. Yes, absolutely. Also, besides the oppressor is the devil the Bible speaks of. But just like that devil means deceiver. This whole report that I was reading is so deceptive. Again, it says MSM have been the most impacted by the epidemic since the beginning. We knew growing up that if you are part of that LGBT community, you were probably gonna catch AIDS. No ifs, no ands, no buts about it. But right here, they're afraid and determined to make you think it's a possibility. It might happen. It just so happens that it's that community is being impacted by it. The oppressor is the devil that the Bible speaks of. If you read down a little bit further, it says that MSM of color are even more disproportionately impacted by HIV. Well, I'll be damned, because that sounds exactly like what we just got through reading, where it says that the other nations haven't known His judgments, but we have. MSM of color, that's another way for saying niggas. That's another way for saying black man, Hispanic man, Native Indian man, who not white man. The ones who have the highest number as far as the numbers, percentage wise, some kind of way, the ones with the lowest, us, we're number one once again. There's a couple of things I wanted to bring out in this report because again, it was just crazy. It keeps going on to say now this is a report I believe from 2019. It says that MSM of color, niggas, are even more disproportionately impacted by HIV as issues of stigma and discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation. So it's not that the Most High told us that we're not supposed to do it and he's going to judge us and that's why we're doing it. According to this report, it's because of the stigma and the discrimination based on them being part of their lifestyle. Think about that for a minute. So it's not the act that you're doing. It's not the lifestyle that you're doing. It's none of those. It's because of the stigma that resolves around, but because they treating you badly because you practicing the lifestyle. This is what the report is saying. These are the people that's in charge of us. These are the people that we listen to. These are the people that tell us to celebrate Pride Month. We run out, we go celebrate Pride Month. You can't make this up. It says it goes on to say that it intersects with racism and other social determinants of health. If it continues, 1 in 6 MSM LGBT community will be diagnosed with HIV at some point in their lives. It's a death sentence. It's a death sentence. But again, when you're looking at it on television, on TV, it's so pretty. It's rainbows and ice cream, and everybody's riding a Ferris wheel, and they holding hands, and they skipping through the park, and they're having a great time. I was riding today for my slavery. I looked at a bus. On the back of the bus, you got two what look to be Ephraimite, and maybe I want to say Issachar. On the back of the bus, they got their faces painted up, and they staring at each other in the eyes. And it's amazing how we have become the face of this. Now think about that. We are the face of Pride Month, but we if you saw any part of the classes last night, even though Juneteenth, which again is some garbage that they give us to try to be happy about being here, happy to be a good American, happy to be a slave day part 2. If you was in Officer Mataza Akawa's class last night, they are starting to become the face of Juneteenth. So how did that happen? How did they become the face of Juneteenth, but we the face of Pride Month? Who can explain that? Who can explain that? How does that make any sense whatsoever? For time's sake, it's again because we don't understand ownership, proprietary. We don't understand what's ours is ours. We don't what really is ours. The laws, the statutes, and the commandments that the Most High gave us, we've given that away. We gave that away to them. And we've adopted and taken on this mess, this garbage, this wickedness, this evilness that they've given us. We'll take that and we'll call it ours all day long. We'll take that. We won't take what the Lord gave us, but we will take what this oppressor has gave us. Even though what the oppressor gives us leaves us number 1 for HIV. Atlanta's supposed to be known as Black Hollywood. They just got through celebrating. Tyler Perry, 6'6", 250-some pound man that dresses in a dress and has made a career dressing in a dress and mocking the Most High, has made a career of making a big joke. Medea smoked cigarettes, tote guns, smoke weed, the whole 9. Man in a dress, cross-dresser. But he has, I think they say he's getting ready to buy, or he bought BET or VH1, one of them. And again, and all our people were excited and happy about this mess. But when you look at the numbers, maybe that's something we shouldn't really be applauding. Maybe we need to get back to men being men. Maybe we need to get back to what the Most High says is love, what is brotherhood, what is sisterhood. And then we can probably maybe stop being number 1 in these categories right here. Officer Mataza says that Proverbs 8 and 13 is interesting that it's called Pride Month. Let's take a look at it and see what it says then. Miss Carletta says, so true. The oppressor is a devil wanting to get people to sin, made a false religion, and wants to make sin look good and fun, and they do. They make sin very appealing, very attractive. Sin is the way to go in this kingdom here. But we're gonna pull that precept that Officer Mataza brought out, and let's see exactly what it said in celebration of Pride Month. Again, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense that we won't look for ourselves to see that it's damaging us. Even something that's damaging and killing us at an alarming rate like that. We so eager, so quick to want to be accepted by this oppressor, We allow it to kill us and take us out. We don't care. We don't care. And if you look at it, it's the same thing we've done with the violence in our hood. It's the same thing we've done with everything. It doesn't matter how negatively it affects us, as long as it's okay for the oppressor, it's okay for us. And the Most High knew that. The Most High never wanted that to be so for us. And until we come back to these laws, statutes, and commandments, we will be continue to be judged as a result of it. I'm gonna bring up this scripture, a precept that Officer Matazar brought out. So Proverbs 8:13, the fear of the Lord is to hate evil, pride and arrogancy, and the evil way, and the froward mouth do I hate. If that don't describe Esau, if that doesn't describe this oppressor, if that isn't a perfect description of Pride Month, I don't know what is. They are so proud of the evil. They're so proud of it. It's almost kind of like with cigarettes being at its high point, or even crack. Let's do crack being at its high point. It was killing as many people as it was killing. We're gonna have a national crack pipe month. There's gonna be National Crack Pipe Month in celebration of your auntie, your uncle getting locked up, getting unalive, overdosing. We're gonna have National Crack Pipe Month. Free crack pipes for everybody. That's the equivalency of a Pride Month. And we don't see it. We don't react. We don't have a reaction. We don't get mad. We don't get happy, mad, sad, or none of those until the oppressor tells us or gives us permission to be happy, mad, or sad. We don't throw up our fists and say Black Power until the oppressor gives us permission to do such. And as a result, we are being judged as a result of it. So I want to show you a couple more numbers on that. Then we're going to get to the actual judgment. We're going to get where this judgment is coming from. So let me pull that back up again. Because again, this report was just crazy. But we're going to pull that one back up again. So that was a great precept, Officer Mataz Zachariah. So again, we learned a new term tonight. We learned that MSM is men who have sex with men. And if you look at the total MSM, and this is just like a snapshot of it for 2019, as far as the HIV infections, out of that 24,000 HIV infections, who you see at the top? Niggas. Oh, I'm sorry, MSM of color, Black Americans. And then the other MSM of color that they try to keep us from realizing that we're brothers, our Hispanic brothers, Latino brothers, right there ranking in number 2. The rapists, the murders, the ones you don't want to come over the border, you want to build a wall for, you want to keep them out, even though you stole their land from them, and you went and you and strengthened the cartels, and you flooded their little piece of land you let them have with drugs and crime, rape, robbery, murder, and so forth. So then you promise them a better life. Then when they come over here, they got to be number two, as far as the HIV infection rates. You can't make this stuff up. We don't have the numbers to be number 1 at any of these lists. We don't have the numbers to be number 1 at any of these lists. We're the smartest, the fastest, the brightest, the strongest. Why we ain't number 1 as far as the richest people in the world? Why we ain't number 1 as far as inventions in the world? Why we ain't number 1 as far as best society, best creative society, and so forth in the world? But we're number 1 in all the derogatory categories, all the detrimental and deadly, fatal categories. We rank number 1 in. This is the judgment of the Most High. This is the judgment of the Most High. And who Pride Month is really about, who has always been about, who always had that, who this lifestyle was always part of their culture. Esau, white America, right there at the bottom. Right there at the bottom. And this is all based on us following the oppressor, following these other nations, and not following the laws and statutes of the Most High. I want to pull out another scripture. I want to pull out another scripture. We're gonna go to Leviticus 20 and 13. Let's get that. Let's get Leviticus 20 and 13. Because again, when we're reading and looking at these numbers right here, again, these are the judgments. These are the judgments of the Most High. We are being judged from the Most High because we refuse to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. This is how we got here to begin with. We refused to listen in the very beginning. This is how we got underneath this oppressor. We always rebelled and bucked against the Lord, didn't want to listen to what the Lord said. We wanted to follow the other people. We always did. And this is how we always, this punishment here was just one of the worst ones. That's all. This punishment here, we lost our heritage, we lost our culture, we don't know who we are, we don't know what to follow, and all we want to do is keep following the same people that hurt us. So we're gonna go to Leviticus 20 and 13. Let's pull it up. Let's see what that says. Because when we're reading about HIV, when we're reading about the infection rate, and we're reading about that judgment, it's very important for us to realize that, again, the Bible is very specific. It's not hocus pocus. It's not fairy tale. It's not magical. The Lord is a good father. Regardless of what type of parent you are, the type of parent you want to be, the type of parent you had or you didn't have, our Father is a good father. A good father is going to do what he said he was going to do. A good father is going to give you consequences, rewards and consequences based on your actions. A good father is not going to buckle because you bat your eyes at him and say, "Oh, daddy, I love you." Good father ain't going to fall for that shit. Good father going to, nope, you, if you love me, you do what I said you'll do. And that's our Father. Our Father is a good father. And he said, if you love me, you'll keep the commandments, just like we first read. Love, if you want to love you, he said to love your brothers and your sister. How you love your brother and your sister? Do what I told you to do. Keep the commandments. Right here, we're going to read Leviticus 20 and 13. It says, if a man also lie with mankind. Sounds familiar, though. Sounds just like we read in Leviticus 18 and 22. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, same thing. It's the same thing. If you land out with a man or woman, the LGBT community, part of that lifestyle, it says both of them, the catcher and the receiver, both of them have committed an abomination. No matter if you're on the top, no matter if you're on the bottom, you know it's 112 different genders. Think about this shit. It's 112 different genders. So they, just like we saw how they changed, they created this term MSM. Well, they've created 112 different genders. Even though the Most High created male and female, man and woman. Well, now it's 112 different variations of that. That's this oppressor. That's this wicked. That's this wicked place that we're in. That's the abomination. That's the abomination. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with woman, both of them, not just one of them, the catcher, the receiver, the top, the bottom, whatever you want to call it, both of them have committed an abomination, something that's disgusted and hated by the Most High. They shall surely be put to death. Now we're talking about a judgment. This is going to be the judgment for what? Well, actually, I asked that question. It says they should surely be put to death. When it says that they should surely be put to death, what are they being put to death for? Again, we lack reading comprehension. We lack being factual, being truthful. We are lied to and deceived on every hand and in every corner in this place right here. So as a result, we'll read something, we don't realize what we read it, or we'll read it, and because of that lying Christian church, we'll read it and we'll make it what we want it to say. We'll make love what we want love to be. So we'll read a scripture like this and we'll make it what we want it to be. And I'm gonna show you that next. But they shall surely be put to death. What are they being put to death for in the scripture right here? Who can tell me? If a man also lie with mankind, as he lieth with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. What are they being put to death for? We know abomination is something that's disgusting and that's disgusting and hated by the Most High. We know that it's saying that a man also lying down with mankind. That's saying that's that MSM. That's that man who have sex with men. That's that woman who have sex with women. Those are your MSMs. It says both of them have committed an abomination. They should surely be put to death. Who can tell me what they're being put to death for? Sister Anaya is absolutely correct. For that man laying down with that man, that woman laying down with that woman. And right here, when you keep continuing reading, because of that act, because of that lifestyle, because of that LGBT community, because of those actions, it says that they should surely be put to death. Sister Carletta is right there on it as well. And it's telling you right there inside that same scripture. It's telling you exactly what it's saying. Officer Mataza said for being part of the alphabet community. You're absolutely correct. This is what they're being put to death for. Now let's see exactly how. If we finish reading that, and it says, "Their blood shall be upon them." So when it says that their blood shall be upon them, what is it referring to right there? Who can give me that? What is it referring to right there? With everything that we've read tonight, with all the numbers and stuff that we looked at tonight, it says that their blood shall be upon them. Who can tell me what you feel like that's referring to? It's amazing how we spend all that time, all that money, all that energy in those churches, and they teach us absolutely nothing. For a disease to be wrecking our community, for a disease to be destroying us, our black men, our black women, and so forth. I remember when the down low phenomenon was going on. That was a result of the LGBT men not wanting to tell the other woman, and the woman being infected with it as a result of it. So for something that wrecks and destroys our community the way that it does, there's another slide that I wanted to show, and it said that 1 in 5 persons in Atlanta at any given time has HIV or infected with HIV. 1 in 5. You meet 5, 6 people in Atlanta, there's a good chance that one of those that you met probably is infected with HIV. So for something like that, and if you know anything else about Atlanta, it's full of churches. You got churches all over the place. Yahweh Shema Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shabrakatah to Trooper Shema. Goodbye in the building. How you doing, brother? Sister Carletta is absolutely correct. They are being punished. But it says something very specific right here. It says that their blood shall be upon them. When we talking about and I'll go ahead and give it to you for time's sake, we getting a little low on time. But when we're looking at that AIDS transmission is transmitted through the blood. When we're looking at STDs, STIs, syphilis, and so forth, these are transmitted through the blood and so forth. Transmitted through that specific action. Again, we got a good father. If he said he was going to do it, he's going to do it. When you're looking at those numbers, when you're looking at how we're 1 in 6 or 1 in 5 in Atlanta is going to be infected with HIV at any given moment. When you read that title, it says that Atlanta has one of the highest HIV infection rates in the world. That's a judgment from the Most High. That's their blood shall be upon them. We would know these things. We would take caution. We would take precaution. We would do what the Most High said to do and avoid being in these categories if we just listen to those laws, statutes, and commandments. But again, it's something that we refuse to do. We don't want to do it. And because we don't want to do it, this is how the Most High repays us back. This is his judgment. Again, the other nations can do what they want to do, but this is his judgment for us, and it's glorified for us. This wasn't how we always were. I remember when that movie 300 came out. I was younger then. We were geeked about it because Leonidas was that dude. Oh, he 300 deep. He taking out whole armies 300 deep. But then I get older and I'm researching, I'm reading, and that 300 were 150 pairs of LGBT members. Because that was part of that was their culture. That was their culture. So the 300 that you see, Leonidas and all, everybody had a boyfriend. That's why they fought the way they fought, because they would fight. They were lovers fighting for each other. Alexander, when you read about the Alexander in the Bible and in the Apocrypha, it calls him Alexander the Greek. Throughout American history, they call him Alexander the Great. Part of the LGBT community. It was known for the older men to take on a young. It was known for the older man to take on a young boy. This is nothing new to them. This is always been part of their culture. Feminism is born out of that LGBT community. It's born out of that. All those are results of that. All those are products of that. That's how they've always been. When you hear about who's ever heard of buck breaking? Anybody ever heard of buck breaking? These things were put upon us, but these things were never our culture. The Most High never deemed it for us. All throughout the Bible, it talked about that. As early as back as Leviticus is telling you, this is not our culture. This is not something that we practice. This is why he hated the other nations. This is why he only loved ours. He gave us our heritage and our culture. We're not like them. We were never supposed to be like them. And we can't be holy and we can't be separate by trying to be like them. Officer Matazar Karar says, he heard of it. Buck breaking, for time's sake, I give it to you, is when they would get on that plantation, they would take the biggest, the strongest brother out there on the plantation. So kind of like if you ever seen Roots before, instead of the scene with Roots when he just beating him with the whip and he make him change his name and say that he's Toby, well, in this scene, he will rape him in front of everybody on the plantation. He will buck break. He will break him in front of everybody on the plantation. And when I read up on it, it said it wasn't just a one-time thing. He would do it over and over again. He first beat him till he couldn't move no more, and then he would rape him. But now we proud of it. Now we got a Pride Month. So now we celebrating. We celebrating the rapists now. This is Pride Month. We proud of it now. We proud of being abused. We proud, and because of that same culture, because of that same that demon, that homosexuality is, it's a violent and aggressive demon. And that community, they'll take that and they force that upon everybody else now. So now you have to be proud too. Otherwise, you're not a good American. Otherwise, you how we read, you're discriminating against them. Let them tell it by you not accepting their lifestyle. You're the reason why the numbers going up. Ain't that something? You're the reason why MSM, that's why the numbers are going up. It's your fault. Not the lifestyle, not the judgments of the Most High. It's not Leviticus 20 and 13. If a man also lie with mankind, as he lied with a woman, both of them have committed an abomination. They shall surely be put to death. Their blood shall be upon them. It's not that. Couldn't be that. Can't be that. Can't be that. All these years, all this time and energy, years, money that we've put into these churches, why they don't teach us this? Why don't they teach us that? Show you something real quick. I was looking and pulled this up, and it tripped me out when I saw it. ISUBK since 1969 been coming out telling our people to stay at these churches, that these churches are white supremacy. But when you say that, most Christians will look at you and they will laugh. Most Christians will look at you and say, brother, no, brother, you're wrong, brother. It's about love, brother. Blackity, black, 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 black. It's about love, and so forth and so on and so on. But just how we saw how that MSM, that term, that title had been changed over time. Everything gets changed over time. That's their way of getting it past you. They'll switch it up, they'll change it, they'll paint it pink, blue, purple, make it all pretty. You think it's something non-threatening, it's no big deal, just like your Christmas, just like your Valentine's Day, just like your Mother's Day. Even though we used to rape, murder in the street for these same pagan rituals, well, now we're gonna make it all pretty, give you a snowman, give you a little deer with a red nose, fat white dude coming out your chimney, and so now it's non-threatening. It's no big deal. It's family time. Look at Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is a celebration of 77 million of your brothers and sisters being put to death for trying to extend a helping hand to the oppressor. What we do? We get some turkey, we get some cranberry sauce. Oh, it's no big deal. It's family time, man. We just want to see the family. Never thinking, never one thought about the brothers and sisters that's still on the reservations right now to this day. Never thought about it at all. And we call it love. That's love, man. I love my family, man. I just want to get with them for Thanksgiving. It's love. It's love. but you ain't showing love to your brothers and your sisters on the reservation. It's the same. It's the same thing. You follow behind this oppressor. You taking their adaptation of what they call love, and you apply it to yourself, and as a result, we hate each other. As a result, we continue to suffer. We participate in the suffering. I never forget. I was in the church just a while ago, long time ago, and they brought in one of the few remaining Buffalo soldiers, and everybody applauded and clapped, and you know, at the time I didn't know those Buffalo soldiers, those brothers, mainly Judah, they sent them out to kill the buffalo, the food supply, the clothing that Native and Indian brothers got that they survived off of. Killed it just to watch them starve. They gave them medals and they heroes, and you can buy all kinds of military portraits and so forth, and we celebrate them, and we're proud of that. We proud to be mercenaries and killers, the most deviant behavior. We proud of it because we did it for our oppressor. Red, white, and blue. Well, Pride Month is no different. Pride Month it's no different from 4th of July. It's no different from Christmas. It's no different from Valentine's Day. It's no different from Mother's Day. It's no different from none of these other holidays. It's all the same. And a lot of that reshaping, that reterming, a lot of that brainwashing, a lot of that indoctrination takes place in this Christian church. And I'm gonna show you how. Now, I first saw this, it tripped me out, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, I could, but I can't. As very few things that surprise me nowadays. But just like when we were coming up, you couldn't have a bent wrist, you couldn't have no sugar in your tank, as no boy, as no young man in our community. That was gonna get checked. You was gonna have a hard time rocking rainbow flags all year round. I don't care if it was June or whatever, coming up in school with us. That just wasn't acceptable. That was gonna be something you had to kind of keep to yourself. It ain't like that no more. And in that church, it wasn't like that. We were one of the last, that church, even though it doesn't teach what the Most High says, it wasn't full out LGBT Pride Month celebrating like it is. I done rolled by so many different churches that got the rainbow flag on their placard outside. They've come up with their own queer churches now. They got a queer Christ that they celebrate, a queer creator that they worship now. But even more disgusting as that is when I saw this right here. Pull this up for you. They got a whole campaign called Pride in the Pews. If you look right there, the very first thing it lets you know is that 80% of Black Americans identify as Christian, white supremacy. So 80% of Black Americans are African Americans. African Americans is two continents. Was two continents of two oppressors. Leo Scipius Africanus conquered Hannibal, white dude. And Amerigo Vespucci, cartographer, map maker, white dude. Those are who we call ourselves. We call ourselves two white dudes. MSM, ain't that something? Maybe that's where they got that mess from, and maybe that's that whole spirit why our people have lost their damn manhood. Why we don't have any manhood no more, because we call ourselves after two oppressors, two men. It might have something to do with it, even though the Most High said it was male and it was female that we were gonna come from. Maybe that's what it is. But 80% of Black Americans identify as Christianity, aka white supremacy. Of those, more than half attend Black denominations. Again, that's one thing that you will know. For as much as they say God loves everybody and that we all unified and united, well, when you go to that church, you're going to have Black churches, you're going to have white churches. Why? Because we do not get down the same way. Even in our wickedness, we don't get down the same way. So again, they say it's one of the most segregated days to this day is on Sunday. Even though, again, we're not supposed to go on Sunday. That's worship of the sun and so forth. But just to point that out, though, when we do go, we, for the most part, we kind of congregate together. But when you're reading this, 12 12% of us identify as LGBTQIA. Now I don't know what the hell the IA means, but I do know, and bring that up, that there is another letter that they're adding to it. And I remember reading about it years ago. And it's going to be M. Who knows what the M for LGBTQ will stand for? And while we're looking at this, if you can tell me what that M is going to stand for, and I'm going to keep on reading. A startling number of queer Black Americans. That's another way of, again, of kind of softening that term. Like, so instead of using terms like gay or mentally diseased, or like they used to call it back in the day, like I think about in the 60s and 70s, now they just call it queer and LGB and all these other terms or whatever. But yeah, okay. What we got? We got Sister Carletta says that the devil is a vicious, abusive, dangerous, evil sodomite. That's correct. Demonic church, they exactly the holidays, all that stuff was made by them. And again, it's all to keep us from serving the Most High. It's to keep us from knowing that, again, those laws, those statutes, and those commandments are ours that were given to us. He showed off his word to Jacob. Also, Mutazah Karaj says they ain't gonna be happy till they got all 26 letters. Well, look, also Mutazah, they got 112 different genders. They're probably gonna have to come up with some brand new letters. It's probably gonna be A squared, AB squared. They're gonna have to start using algebraic functions to keep up with all this shit, because it's just so many of them. But it's an M that they're getting ready to come from. Sister Carletta says, I don't know Mason. Nope, it ain't Mason. It's called, I'm gonna tell you what it's called, and I'm gonna see if you can tell me what that used to be, or what we call that now. It's called minor attracted persons. Let that sink in. Minor attracted persons. Now, who can give me a better term for that? That what you think we call that now? What's a minor attracted person? Can't make this shit up. But while you're thinking about that, yep, Officer Mutazah is on it. Exactly, 100% pedophile. So instead of terming, I was listening to this thing and they were saying that that's offensive now. It's offensive to call a pedophile a pedophile. You shouldn't say that. You should call them minor attracted persons. So this will be lumped into that LGBT community as well. So you were wondering why they were doing those drag shows at the elementary schools, at the elementary schools, when you get these grown, muscle-bound men and them in dresses and lipstick and halter tops and so forth, dress and dancing sexually provocative in front of your child at school. Well, this is part of it. This is part of it. Sister Not say a weirdo. I'm with you 100%, sister, but it's deeper than that. They have always been like this. They've always been like this. This was part of their plan from the very beginning. It's all to say that we know better than the Most High. And because we don't ascribe to what the Most High gave us, we tag along right to this mess. And this is where we're getting it from. This is where a big part of it is at. If we would have known what that book, our word, our laws, our scriptures and commandments tells us, our statutes and commandments tell us, we would know that that's a lifestyle that's not for us. But if you're going to church nowadays, it says, I'm gonna read a little bit of this. We're creating the first comprehensive database of queer affirming Black churches. Yep, I didn't stutter. I didn't make this up. I did not type this shit on my own. This was already in there. And it says it's going to be rooted in scripture. Think about that. Now, we just got through reading scripture where it says, a man lay down with mankind like womankind. That's an abomination. He shall surely be put to death. But this right here says it's going to be rooted in scripture. Look how they try to trick you. Look how they try to switch you up. 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. Well, we just learned what love was. Love is keeping his commandments. Love is keeping his commandments. So where they getting this from? Where they getting this from? Because we don't protect what's ours, because we haven't been taught to protect what's ours, because we want to be part of everybody else except for what the Lord has deemed for us. Things like this happen. It said, what does the Lord require of you to do but justice? Again, we're people who don't even know damn justice. And to love kindness and to walk humbly with your God. This is another very important reason why you should have you a King James 16:11 version. When you get some of these other translations, I learned that some of these other translations of the Bible are essentially somebody's reading the Bible, and then they're going to give you how they feel about it, what they think it's saying. Or they'll switch a word here up or switch a word there up, so you don't realize what's really going on. You'll walk away reading this mess and think, okay, well, God is okay with them. God loved them too. A new command I give you. Love one another as I have loved you. So you must love one another. By this, everyone will know that you are my disciples if you love one another. Well, what's love? Love is keeping his commandments. Love is keeping his commandments. Christ said there's none good but the Father, but he didn't come with he didn't do anything different from what his father wanted to do. Christ was Christ. He was that nigga. Why? Because he did exactly what his father wanted him to do. He was the good son, and he didn't even call himself good, but he did exactly what the father wanted to do. It was his father's will. He didn't come with his own new thing. But that's one of the lies that Christian church tries to tell you, that he is a deity all on his own. Christ is God. So you walk away thinking that he's some schizophrenic. He's praying to himself and heal himself to free himself. Makes no sense. When he's talking to himself the whole time in the book, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. You have the Father, the Son, and the Spirit. That Trinity mess is garbage. That's just trying to make, again, Christ God. So if he's God, then now he can tell you something brand new that you never heard of before. So now instead of keeping his commandment, no, we just gonna keep this commandment. We're gonna love, 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 love. And then remember, we determine what our own love is now. So the LGB, that's love. Right? We got to get back to these all statutes and commandments and get the hell up out these damn evil churches. Evil, and like Sister Carletta said, demonic and mentally ill at the same time. And that's what these churches have. I think they've always been like that, but now it's just obvious now. Again, I'll read a little bit more. And look how they try to look how wicked they is. It says, words from our founder, the black church is queer. I can sure enough testify that the black church is queer as they come. Sure enough. If this shit don't make you mad, if it don't make you feel some kind of way, then maybe you like Pride Month. I don't know. Maybe you like Pride Month. But when I read stuff like this, I'm so thankful for the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Because without the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, without Commander General Yohana holding it down so we would know the truth, shit like this would have ran rapid. And we would be lost, and we would be eternally lost at this point right now. Nobody's telling the truth about that Bible. Islam not telling you the truth about that Bible. Moab not telling you the truth about that Bible. Nobody is. And now the church haven't been telling you the truth anyway, but now they tell you something the exact opposite of what the Lord says. And I can't even say now because they've been doing that anyway. It's just more obvious now. It's just more obvious, and because of this particular topic, because of just how flamboyant Pride Month is, it's just right there in your face right now. You can't make this shit up. I can sure enough testify the black church is queer as they come. Sometimes I say the Christian church is the most dangerous thing for our people outside of our oppressor. He's absolutely correct. We don't realize just how deadly, how dangerous that Christian church is. I always say Christianity is worse than crack. Christianity hit harder than fentanyl. Christianity is worse. It's gonna do more than just knock your teeth out like meth. It's stronger than all that shit put together and rolled into one. Why? You can be in church, even the people that's done been there for a while, right? Even if they came up in the era where I came up in, where it wasn't as acceptable, and they kind of stood against it. What I'm saying is gonna go for it now because of this. They're gonna show enough testify that the black church is queer as they come. That's how strong Christianity is. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Don't believe your lying eyes. That's Christianity. See if there's anything else in this garbage I want to pull out for you. It was some more to it, but I just wanted you to kind of see. And it's a big article that goes through it. Again, they misconstrue the scriptures. They make them say what they want to say. It's rampant now. It's rampant. They make it. It's just as seductive as it gets to be, and it's called Pride in the Pews. It's a grassroots, nationwide nonprofit building bridges and creating solutions that empower the Black LGBTQ to thrive in the pew, the pulpit, in the public square. You can't make this shit up. You can't make it up. You can't make it up. So I want to get a couple of scriptures before I get out of here. It was one of them in particular I want to get to last week that I didn't get to. But because we don't know We don't know who we are. We don't know what we should do. We follow everybody. We follow any and everybody, because again, we don't accept the laws and statutes that the Most High gave us. We want to accept what this oppressor gives us. We suffer as a result of it. We are judged as a result of it. We die as a result of it. It does not change anything. We go full steam ahead and into it even more. I want to pull out a couple more scriptures before we get out of here. And I had a question in there too. But yeah, let's get that first, then we'll get that. Perfect. We don't realize how special we are. That word holy means set apart. That word holy means set apart, special. We're not like everything else. We're not like the rest of the other nations. Damn right, Sister Scarletta. Sister Scarletta says, I'm glad I seen the evil in Christian church and got out. I'm going out of there forever and stay out of there. Come to the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge, and you can learn how you're supposed to learn the word, how it was meant to be instructed and how it was meant to be applied in your life from the priests and prophets of the Most High. That church is the devil. That church is white supremacy. I can't stress that enough. And eventually, hopefully, we will figure that shit out and we will stay out of it. But again, who knows? Who knows? If you in here, you're in here because you're in here for a reason. You're in here for a reason. And all you can do is try to correct, rebuke your brothers and sisters as best possible, even though they're gonna say it's judging. You know that's not. We're gonna pull up Deuteronomy 32. So even way back in Deuteronomy, we're gonna pull up Deuteronomy 32 in chapter 7. I want to go over this real quick just so we can kind of drive that home. We got the Pride Month, but we got to the point where we're proud of Pride Month for the same reasons why we proud of Juneteenth, same reason why we proud of 4th of July and all these other Christmas, all this other garbage. We've got that because we don't do what the Bible tells us to do. In Deuteronomy 32:7, it says, remember the days of old. We don't remember the days of old. We don't remember the days of old. We don't try to hold on to what we've been through. We don't try to hold on to the lessons that the Bible has wrote down, our records. We don't adhere to those records to show us what we went wrong, what we went right, what we need to do, what we don't need to do. It says, consider the years of many generations. We don't consider the years of many generations. We don't consider the prophets. We don't even consider the prophets as our elders. We don't consider them as our elders, our ancestors. Ask thy father, and he will show thee thy elders, and they will tell thee. That's what's going back to these laws, statutes, and commandments are. That's what's going back to our history in this book. Verse 8. When the Most High divided the nation to the nations their inheritance. It's a big misconception, a big lie that the church, that this oppressor, that everybody tells, that they say that we all gonna come together. Everybody's gonna come together. We all gonna hold hands. We're gonna sing Kumbaya. We're gonna have s'mores, roast marshmallows, and all this other shit that's just not true. It's not true, and it was never meant to be like that. You talk to anybody when, especially coming about their church, when you talk to them about the Lord, about God, well, God loves everybody. God gonna bring us all together. It's all about peace. All about peace. We are people that's never seen peace a day in our damn life. We wouldn't know what peace looked like. If peace walked up and punched us in the face, we would know what it looked like. We have never seen peace ever, but we always run around hollering about damn peace. It's like somebody that says, I'm gonna buy me a unicorn. I'm gonna buy me a unicorn. I'm gonna buy me a unicorn. A brother could be selling a unicorn down the street. You wouldn't know what the hell it was because you never seen it before. Never seen it before. It's always been war. Anybody in this era, in this generation, you have never known peace. America didn't establish this place off of peace. It established through war and bloodshed. War, bloodshed. War, bloodshed. It has a very common, a very methodical way that it goes about doing this, and it does it everywhere it goes. It's never stopped. You can't be superpower number one without some kind of a force. Our force is the Most High. We don't tap into that force. We want to be part of everybody else. We want to be part of this. We want to be part of this beast. We won't be part of the rapist, the murderer, the oppressor. The way that he got all his everything he's got, we want to attach ourselves to that. It says, but when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, it's just like I heard Captain Yachts, I said a couple of times before. If it's a dog pile, you got everybody piled up on top of each other. That's like a football term. If it's a dog pile, everybody piled. Somebody gonna be on the bottom of that. The Most High knows that if it's a dog pile, if we with all the other nations, we're gonna be on the bottom. If we're not ruling, we're gonna be on the bottom. That's just how it's going to be. But we have gotten so broken. We have gotten so used to this oppressor, so comfortable here. We don't want to be in charge. We don't want to be in charge. We like being a slave. We a good slave. We love this slave shit. We that need to be the t-shirt for damn Juneteenth. We love this slave shit. I'm gonna keep going. When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, we don't understand what an inheritance is. In the beginning of the class, I gave the example of if you had something cherished, it could be a car, jewelry, land, money, whatever that you left or gave to your child, that would be considered an inheritance. Well, the Most High gave us an inheritance, these laws, these statutes, these commandments, rulership. We have an inheritance. He gave everybody their stuff, but then this is what he specifically gave to us. Our heritage, our laws, our statutes, our commandments, how we run a nation, how we make ourselves a people, a ruling class, a people, how we love one another. All of that comes from the Most High. That comes from the Most High. It said then when he separated the sons of Adam, when it's talking about the sons of Adam are simply Adam's sons. Those were the Israelites in the beginning, before they were called that. Those were the ones who inherited the Most High's laws, statutes, and commandments. He didn't give it to the whole world. He didn't give it to everybody. He gave it to his people. It's always been like that. It's always been that way. Always. Sister Carletta says, I'm glad to be part of ISUPK. Thank you. I learned a lot from you and other Hebrew Israelites. Thank y'all for y'all wisdom and knowledge. We appreciate you, and we appreciate everybody. We're trying to pull as many people we can out that Christian church and bring them to the truth. If you are not in the ISUPK, you are not in the truth. If you're in one of these little fake groups with little tassels on the end of your shirt, you are not in the truth. I can't reiterate that enough. The same way how that Christian church manipulates, changes scriptures, make their own rules and their own definitions. Other fake Israelite group do the same exact thing. Same exact thing. So if you're not in here, you're not in the truth, you're not learning the truth. And you're part of the problem. You're in UPK, you're in the way. It says that when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, it's always been that separation. It's always been that division. It's always the other nations have their own land, their own culture, their own language, and so forth and so forth. He's always, I won't say always, he came up in the Tower of Babel, he divided them again, because once we get together, it's always the same thing. One is going to rule over the other. That evil is going to rule over us because we don't ascribe to be the saints. We don't want to be indulge in the inheritance that he left us, so we follow behind the other nations. So he's always been about that. He's always been about separation. He's always been about division. They try to teach us that the Lord is all about bringing everybody together. That don't make no sense. The gazelle don't lie down with the damn lions like they do in the songs of Disney. They don't do that. They fight. They fight. That's a food source and so. So it's not like how they portray it and make it to be like on television. He set the bounds of the people, the bounds of the other people, the land masses and so forth. You're going to be here. You're going to be there. You're going to be over there. According to the number of the children of Israel. Everything's always been based off us. Everything's been based off us. This is why when you look at those numbers on HIV, even though we're a small portion of the community, we got the lion's share of the damn disease. Everything's based off us. Verse 9, for the Lord's portion is his people. Who knows what that word portion is? And if I can't get it real soon, then I'll go ahead and I'll just kind of tell you what it is. But who knows what that word portion is? Because that's very important. Again, it's very important that we understand what he's saying when he says that. Who knows what that word portion means? Because it says for the Lord's portion. is his people. We the Lord's portion. We belong to the Lord. It says that Jacob, again, Jacob, when we talk about Jacob, Jacob's name was changed to Israel. He's the father of the 12 tribes. If you're Colombian, Uruguay, Chile, Argentina, now you're really Asher, Naphtali, you part of the 12 tribes. That was the Lord's portion, his people. Those were his portion. Jacob is the lot of his inheritance. We inherited the law, statutes, and commandments and stuff from the Lord. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it to you. If I don't get no definition of portion, I'm gonna read it for you. It says portion, an individual's part or share of something, as a share received by gift or inheritance. And definition 2, an individual's lot, fate, or fortune, one's share of good and evil. Most important is, again, it's an inheritance. This was given to us. It wasn't for everybody else. Because we don't know that, because we don't realize that, because we don't practice that, we're susceptible to everything else underneath the sun from these other nations. We're susceptible to a pride month because we don't realize that we're the Lord's portion. Pull up another scripture for you. We're gonna try to get through these last ones. That's why we had to have a part 2 this week, because there's a couple of them I wanted to bring out. I didn't get a chance to bring out last week. Again, because it was great participation, and again, it's this era is so prevalent now. They got a whole month to throw this mess in your face, a whole month to soften you up, a whole month to pull you further and further away from the word of the Lord. And if you're not careful, you'll mess around, you'll be a victim of the pride and the pews. A lot of that LGBTQ community were bred and born in that Christian church. Why? Because that's where they were molested at. Why? Because that's where they lost their innocence at. That's where they were first sexually assaulted at, in that church. It's a ton of stories. It's crazy. You can go on Facebook, on Instagram, on the internet. It'll pop up like an ad. Have you been a victim of sexual abuse at this church? Call this number. This shit is crazy. It's like a damn sweepstakes now. That's just how prevalent, how common it is. Ain't nobody outside burning the damn churches down. Ain't nobody. Everybody's okay with it. Everybody's okay with it. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands. Every entertainer that come out says, yeah, I did this, I did. Oh, yeah, by the way, I was molested here. R. Kelly come out and say, oh, yeah, by the way, I was molested there. Lil Wayne come out and say, oh, yeah, by the way, I was molested. It makes no sense that we don't see what's right in front of our face. We don't see what's right in front of our face, and we don't care. Why? Because we don't love one another like the Most High says. We love how this oppressor loves. This oppressor wants you to love in a way where he can do anything he wants to you, and you never make him pay for it. He never has to pay for it. I won't even say you, because we don't have the Most High is in charge of the judgment. But he wants you to love him and love him and love him and love him and love him so much. You let him get away with everything. He doesn't never have to be held accountable for his actions. So again, we are the Lord's portion. I want to pour this scripture for you because we don't know that we're the Lord's portion. We don't realize this part right here too. We think throwing our fists in the air, black power. We take pride in being called a hairstyle, Afro-Americans. We take pride in being called two white men, African-American. We take pride in being called Mexican, or Hispanic, property of Spain, or Puerto Rican, port of riches. We take pride in all this garbage that these oppressors gave us. It is garbage because we have an inheritance that the Most High gave us that we should really be proud of, that we really should, that we should be teaching, that we should be striving for. And I'm gonna get that for you in Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. Again, when you're in class, if you are able to, and you can always download the Bible. Really, in this, one of the good things about this era, your quote unquote smartphones. Now they tracking everything, looking at everything, the whole nine. Esau gonna be Esau because Esau is attempting to be like the Most High. That's what your AI software. That's what all this stuff is. It's him trying to be the Most High. That's cool. That's fine. You're not gonna be able to stop that. Use it for Use it for good person, for good purposes. You got these phones, use them. If you can't go out and buy you a King James 1611 Bible with the apocrypha, download you one. You can download you a KJVA. You can download it so you can always have that word and those scriptures with you. So whenever anybody's bringing it out, or you're in class, you're out on the street, and so forth, bring have that sword close to you. Exodus 15:3 says the Lord is a man of war. This is warfare. So you want to always be prepared and be ready, and be equipped with the word of God, with the word of the Most High. So I'm gonna bring that out for you. Jeremiah 6:17, chapter 4, or Jeremiah chapter 17, verse 4. And it says, and thou, when it's everything in this Bible is always possessive pronouns to let you know exactly who it's talking to. It says, and thou, you, yes, you, reiterating it. Again, this is a nigga book. It's filled with slang and how we talk in our culture, how we are with one another. So it says, and you, yes, you, even thyself shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee. The Lord was letting us know you're going to lose this heritage. You're going to start following this heritage that I gave you. He letting you know where it came from, and he letting you know what you was going to end up doing with it. And I will cause thee to serve thine enemies. These people are our enemies because they are enemies to the Most High. I don't care what you call them. I don't care if you call them your fellow, if your work, that's your fellow Juneteenth QB, or it doesn't matter. The Lord determined and deemed them as your enemies. Just like we had different terms for the LGBT community before, now they're called MSMs. It don't matter what they call it, the Lord called that an abomination. So these are the people, these oppressors that we're under, specifically this oppressor Esau here in America. The Lord said, he called them our enemies. And he says, I'm going to call you to serve thine enemies in a land which thou knowest not. We came here. We didn't know this land we got here. Our other brothers were here. They were over here. They knew this land, but Judah, the nations that came across on those slave ships, we didn't know this land. And it says, for ye have kindled a fire in mine anger. It's just like you saying, you come on and your kids done told they done threw a party, tore the damn house up. They done did some white people shit in your house and tore your house up. You're going to be hot, fire, hot, mad. And that's what the Lord is saying. For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger. We burnt the Lord burned up. He's mad at us. That's how we got put here. That's how we lost our heritage and our culture. Because again, we went against the Most High. We didn't follow his laws, statutes, and commandments. He gave us that heritage. We didn't want to follow that. We want to follow them. And it says, which shall burn forever. And again, when it says forever, forever just means for a long time. If this was going to burn for a long time that was going to burn, a long time that we was going to suffer because we didn't follow the law, statutes, and commandments. Another scripture that I want to bring out, we saw with that church how they're manipulating, how they're changing what you're looking at. Believe me, don't believe your lying eyes. They're changing it. They're changing the word of the Most High. Just like they changed the faces. They painted all our brothers and made them Esau. They made all them pale faces over time. Why? Because that's to soften you up. That's to soften you up from what they were, from the evil, from the abomination, from the wickedness. Make it look pretty, so you'll be more susceptible to it. So when you read pride in the pews, this isn't the first time that's happened. The Most High told us, again, that Bible, that's our family history. Those are our records. This ain't the first time they try to run this trick. The oppressor is the smartest thing in the earth, believe it or not. Everything he rob, he take from somebody else. He take from us specifically. He's not the smartest one, so if it's working, he's going to keep on doing it. Divide and conquer is one of his main things. Lie, cheat, steal, that's one of his main weapons, tools, his main tactics. So he's always been that way. We're going to get Romans 1:25. Romans 1:25. And it says, who changed the truth of God into a lie? When you reading that pride in the pews mess, when you read now it's MSM, it's not an abomination. When you're looking at all these ways, these terms, when they say that now you're judging me, even though you ain't locked nobody up. When they say what's the other one I was thinking about? It'll come back to me. But anyway, they when they change these terms and they make them all pretty and they change what their original meaning is. That's what I was gonna say. The holidays, when they change the pagan rituals, the sex rituals, when they change all those to now they're just fun-filled family days. They're fun-filled family days. When they change a June, when they change or they make something like a Juneteenth, or even 4th of July when you were in slavery and changed, but now it's a day where we all should be happy together, holding hands, and popping fireworks. This is what it's talking about. Pride in the pews. Who changed the truth of God into a lie? They're making the truth into a lie. Sad part about it is we believe it because we don't know what these laws, statutes, and commandments say. We don't know what this Bible says. And worship and serve the creature more than the creator. That creature that is talking about, you can talk to anybody. You can say and ask them to close their eyes and picture Jesus. Close their eyes and picture God. They're gonna picture that they in their mind. They're gonna have that picture of Caesar Borgia, the second son of the sixth Pope of Rome. What's killed his father to take the throne. Leonardo da Vinci's his MSM. They was MSMs. That's who when he died, he killed his brother. When he died, he commissioned his father commissioned him to paint that picture. They're gonna have that image, that white, blue-eyed Christ in their mind. That's gonna be the creature that they serve. That creature right there is a LGBT member. This is why our sons and our daughters have flocked or ran to this lifestyle. This is why it's part of the church now, part of the black church now. Sure enough. It says, who changed the truth of God into a lie and worship and serve the creature more than the creator. We serve the creature. We serve this garbage. We serve everything underneath the sun except for the one who made the sun. It makes no sense whatsoever. And we wonder why we in the condition that we in. It says, and serve the creature more than the creator who is best forever. So be it. We have got to get back to these laws, statutes, and commandments. The very next verse says, for this cause, God gave them up unto vile affections. Vile affections. That's your Pride Month. Pride Month is a month of vile affections. There's their line. They say, I was born this way. I feel this way. I love, 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 love. You do love. Yeah, you love. You love evil. You love wickedness. You do have that affection, but it's a vile affection. It's a wicked affection. It's an evil affection. Then it says, for even their woman did change the natural use into that which is against nature. So even our woman is supposed to have, bring forth life, be the helpmate for the man, be with that man. And like I heard one brother say, plug and socket, plug and socket, plug and socket. But now, because they changed the truth of God into a lie, they've changed the natural use of a woman to that which is against nature. Verse 27, and likewise also the men. And it's sad that it has to specify right here, but it does, because again, we got 112 different genders now. And likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman. So the man, he looking at another man like he a woman. That woman looking at another woman like she a man. And it says, burned in their lust one toward another. Men with men, MSM, working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves that recompense of that error which was meet. That error which was meet, remember we read, and their blood should be upon them. Receiving that recompense of the error which was meet. That 1 in 6, Atlanta, one of the world's largest HIV infection rate. That's receiving that recompense of that error. Yeah, we got to get back to the laws, statutes, scriptures, laws, statutes, and commandments of the Most High. I appreciate everybody sticking around for the night. It was one more I wanted to get, but I think well, actually, it is. There's one more. I got to get this last one. I'm gonna see if I can find it. I don't know if it's on this particular app right here, but I definitely want to get this last one before we get out of here, and then we're gonna call it a night. If anybody has any questions, comments, or concerns, I meant to say that in the beginning. You can always put that in there. We weren't always proud of Pride Month. Even though we weren't always following the Most High and what he said, we still weren't always proud of Pride Month. This is just, again, to show you just how far we have fallen away from the Most High, and how we have sunk further and further into ideally what this oppressor, what this country wants us to be. And that's not children of the Lord. That's not children of God. As long as we're not children of the Most High, then we're doomed. We are going to continue to keep being judged. Where is it at? It's Ecclesiastes 12:6. I want to pull up, but again, because it's Pride Month, computer want to act kind of crazy because it's Pride Month. I don't want to pull it up for me. All right, bet we got it. Yeah, I guess the internet celebrating Pride Month too. They don't want me to tell them. All right, so we're gonna pull this last scripture up, then we're gonna get on up out of here. They have lied and told us that God loves everybody. They have lied and told us that we should be proud of Pride Month, pride in the pews. But the Most High told us very specifically about the judgments, the blessings and the curses. And in Ecclesiasticus, you're going to find this in the Apocrypha. So it's different from Ecclesiasticus. Ecclesiasticus chapter 12, verse 6. For the Most High hateth sinners. Remember, we talked about that being that MSM being an abomination. The Most High hateth sinners. The church teaches you that he hates the sin and loves the sinner. Why? Because they don't teach you what love truly is. We learned in one of the first scriptures when we always go over in this brotherhood class, 1 John 5:3, that brotherhood and sisterhood and brotherhood and sister are both love, and love is keeping the commandments of God. So the Most High hateth sinners and will repay vengeance unto the ungodly. So when you're looking at those numbers, 1 in 5 persons in Atlanta at any given moment has HIV. The Most High will repay vengeance unto the ungodly and keepeth them against the mighty day of their punishment. We are being punished because we refuse to do what the Most High says to do. We don't realize that when we go to that church, they are teaching us to hate the Most High. When we go to that mosque, it's teaching you to hate the Most High. And in return, you're going to be repaid back for that, because the Most High hateth sinners. He hateth sinners. He doesn't hear sinners' prayers. So as much as it don't matter how much money you donate to that church. It don't matter how much time you spend there. No matter how many wingtip shoes you done bought your pastor, how nice and clean you keep him, the Most High hateth sinners. We're not supposed to be proud of a Pride Month. This is for them. This is not our heritage. This is not our culture. If you are Black, you Hispanic, you Native Indian, you are an Israelite. The Most High gave you your heritage. The Most High gave you your culture. You are his portion. For Jacob is a lot of his inheritance. You have an inheritance. You got rules, you got laws, you got statutes, you got commandments. We are the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Started out at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. And since 1969, we've been teaching that same truth, that truth of the Bible. That Blacks, Hispanic, Native Indians are God's chosen people. Come out of her. Get the hell up out of Babylon. Get the hell up out these damn churches. Shalom, Israel. We'll see you again, Lord willing.